Because the truth is you cannot become another version of you and stay the same at the same time. There are parts of you that you have to sacrifice and let go of in order to become that person.
Welcome to Breakthrough Mode, the podcast where we intentionally get into the driver's seat of our lives, shift out of monotony and mediocrity, and step on the gas towards becoming the person we were always meant to become.
Hello, and welcome to Wednesday in the Wild on the Breakthrough Mode podcast. I am your host, Megan Bauer. Thank you so much for joining me and pushing play on today's episode. If you are new to the podcast, Wednesday in the Wild is the segment of the podcast where we take personal development topics and practices out of the studio and into real life. And so we are also likewise out of the studio and out and about in real life because we can often be in this place where we know what to do, we've heard what to do, we, know the practices, and yet in our lives, it feels tricky to implement, to integrate, to actually apply these things that maybe we know in our head but are not living. So sometimes there's a struggle associated with that. And that's what this episode, this segment of the podcast is about. It's about really striving to live what we know. So, this is the last week of our month-long April decluttering series that has been so fun. We took on 4 different areas of decluttering throughout the 4 weeks of April, and it has been delightful. So, for the very first week, we tackled decluttering physical objects. Now, especially physical things that emotionally, mentally tie us to old versions of us, clearing those things out so that we actually have space to become who it is we want to become. In the second week, we took our attention digital and we decluttered our digital spaces so that they can be as supportive as possible to who we want to step into next. In the third week, we focused on all of the junk that's in our heads, all of the scheduling and all of that, and cleared out space in our minds and in our schedules and in our commitments and our responsibilities to really support and become aligned with the next version of us. This week, we're headed home. We are headed straight to who you are and getting rid of, letting go of, releasing, sacrificing parts of you who do not fit with who it is that you want to become next. Because the truth is you cannot become another version of you and stay the same at the same time. There are parts of you that you have to sacrifice and let go of in order to become that person. You just can't have both in all areas. So in my email yesterday, first of all, if you don't get my emails, you should really sign up for them in the show notes. But if you don't get my emails, yesterday I shared a really good analogy about having like our identity is made up of millions of slots. And all of these slots are occupied by program chips. Think about, like the old school Nintendos or even the Nintendo Switch when you put the little cards in, right? Only one card can go in each slot. And so if you want a new card, a new programming card to go into that slot, you have to let go of, release, sacrifice, whatever word feels good to you, the one that's currently in the slot. And I shared on my in my email that in 2024, I decided that I wanted to become the version of me who exercised every single day. Now, before that, I wasn't even a sometimes exerciser. I was a no, I don't exercise ever, zero, not a bit. That was me. That was the program chip that was in that exercise slot was no, I don't do this. So for me to be able to become the version of me who does exercise every day, I absolutely 100% had to sacrifice that part of me who did not exercise every day. I couldn't be both versions. I couldn't hold both. It's not possible. I can't be the person who never exercises and the person who exercises daily at the same time. So, when I'm talking about sacrificing parts of you so that you can become another version of you, this is what I'm talking about. There are aspects of you, ways of being, ways that you show up, habits you have that cannot coexist with the new ways of being, the new habits, the new ways of showing up that align with the person you want to become. So it is necessary to sacrifice these parts of you in order to become that person. Now, the word sacrifice feels heavy. It feels like loss. It feels like pain. It feels like no thanks. But really, this is an upgrade here because you are letting go of who you have been in order to become the next version of you. Sure, you're not the same anymore. However, you're becoming more intentionally because there are two tricks to this. One trick is that you are going to be sacrificing something no matter what. You're either going to sacrifice who you are now for who you want to become, or you are going to sacrifice who you want to become so that you can stay the same now. And the second trick is that you don't ever actually stay the same anyway. You are either intentionally becoming, intentionally evolving, or you are reactionary to whatever is happening and becoming on a more reactionary basis of your environment, of your circumstances, of whatever's going on around you, or you can do it intentionally. So there really is no staying the same, and there's sacrifice required either way. So that is the whole basis of this week is identifying the parts of you that you need to sacrifice in order to become who it is that you want to become. Now, I have to admit, it's a little bit tricky to think about, like to search yourself and be like, what do I need to sacrifice? And you're like, I don't know. However, if you look at who it is you want to become and their ways of being and their habits and the way that they show up and the accomplishments that they have and the experience of life that they have, you can see something that they experience, that they do, that you don't. And then you can just figure out what is it on the other side of that that I need to let go of in order for me to fully step into and accept this. The exercise example one is easy, right? I want to be somebody who exercises every day. Therefore, I have to let go of the version of me who doesn't exercise at all. But it can be a little bit trickier. So here's what this is looking like for me right now, present day. I and right now have goals and dreams to grow the podcast, to grow my audience, to increase my influence and impact and reach. And in order to be that version of me who has a larger audience, who has people, more people who listen in, it has a greater impact, I have to let go of my fear of visibility, my fear that being seen isn't safe, my fear that I'm going to be criticized and judged and hated and thrown out of the tribe and being eaten by wolves. I have to let go of all of that noise if I want to reach more people. because the two can't coexist. I can't stay hidden and quote unquote safe and be seen at the same time. So you can start to understand how you can look at the person that you want to become and kind of figure out what it is you need to let go of as far as who you are now in order to step in and be that version of you. Because there are things that cannot coexist. So you must sacrifice the traits, the qualities, the habits, the ways of being, the ways of showing up that you have now in order to fully step into and embody the new ways of being, the new habits, the new ways of showing up that the person of you already does, already has, already lives. Now, I have a big treat for you on our Friday full length episode. I'm bringing a guest on, and I know guests are super rare on Breakthrough Mode, but I've got a guest for you, and I'm excited for you to meet him. So, be sure to tune in on Friday for our Friday full length episode as we wrap up our month long decluttering series. Thank you so much for joining me today. I totally love you. Bye for now.